This is an amazing partnership. Telltale announced partnership with Gearbox, and now I'm here with Dan and Kevin to talk about the announcement of Game of Thrones. I think this was, rumored a few weeks ago. I think when people heard Telltale, Game of Thrones, it's such a perfect match. Guys, I mean, how did this thing come about?
Well, we're huge fans at the studio, obviously, like everyone.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to do it, and we just kept working and talking with HBO to figure out the right way to get it done, and we did it, and it makes a lot of sense. I think they saw Walking Dead and said, yeah, that makes sense for Game of Thrones. There's a lot.
Did you ever think you're going to do a game based on Treem?
That's next.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
All right, so I'm sorry.
Well, but as you mentioned, HBO, working with you guys on this, so people wonder, is this based on the books? It's not. It's based on the TV show, right?
Yes.
The TV license.
Yeah. It's a great world. I mean, it's a rich world, and they've made the show has really interpreted it very well, but it's still a huge world, and we'll be taking advantage of all the fiction to make something great.
Awesome.
So people, I'm sure, wonder where is this set? Which book or which season? I mean, how are you approaching the story? What is the Game of Thrones game?
Oh, we're just really getting into it right now and thinking about the right characters and who has kind of the most at stake and who has the most to do and who has the biggest impact on the world, because we're so much about consequence, and Game of Thrones is so much about big consequence.
What do you do with with a show like Game of Thrones? Obviously, the books, the fans are borderline psychotic, and obviously, if you put out a game, you've got to somehow match that or go further. I mean, what do you do?
Well, psychotic fans are actually a bonus, right? Because there's just so much love and feedback, and we're episodic, so when we put something out and people get into it, it becomes part of our feedback loop, and we just keep reinforcing everything that people are into. So it's a great opportunity. We're excited.
Will you shoot the game?
We fall into the category of psychotic fans ourselves.
That too.
Will you shoot the game in Ireland and Malta and in Greenland?
Virtual Greenland.
Okay, great. It's much easier.
But good question. Will the actors from the show, will they be involved at all?
I think we're still going to try to figure that out as we define who the characters should be and how much is new and how much is existing, and who are the right fits for the time period that we do. So it's a lot of work to do.
Excited you guys are doing it.
Are you going to have crazy sex scenes between brother and sister, like in the show?
The show has crazy sex scenes in it?
I don't know if you've seen it. Pretty
psychotic fans.
It would be a.
You're a psychotic fan.
I really like the show a lot, and if I don't like the game, I'm coming for you.
Well, I mean, obviously, huge expectations. But let's talk about the style of game, because Game of Thrones could lend to some, truly, sort of epic action moments. Have you guys thought, Kevin, from a technology perspective, what is this going to feel like? Is it going to be similar to other Telltale games?
I think it will be similar to other Telltale games, but it will, you can't tell a Game of Thrones story without big battles and those kind of elements. So they'll definitely be there in the story. I think the way that we attack them and the things that you do in those battles are going to be kind of more of a Telltale way of doing it. So you'll be swinging a sword every now and then, but you won't be hacking your way through 100 people.
You could be playing like black smoke that comes out of a woman's uterus and unlocks a gate.
Or you could be using it in some way.
Oh, yeah, you could. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Joel, you're getting the design.
I'm getting very specific.
This is your game.
I'm excited for your Masters of Sex game too. That's coming out later.
So let's talk about the, obviously the idea of choice and consequence, which is a big thing in Telltale games.
Yeah.
How does that dovetail with something like Game of Thrones, which obviously has a somewhat defined narrative? And is that why you're thinking of side stories and other characters and how that can sort of blend into the main plot?
Yeah, the world is just so rich, but it's so personal, and each of the characters have so much at stake on a personal level, and people really care about the characters. But there's also the larger world going on. So we like universes where there's a lot at stake, and where when you lose something, you really feel it. So when the player's making their choices and trying to decide what they should do, it means something. And Game of Thrones has that huge universe, and that huge political landscape that just, is really something that we can take advantage of based on, to make the game better and to make a really unique experience. Just a great experience for fans of the show.
You can hardly make any character in the Games of Thrones universe can hardly do anything without huge ripple effects and collateral damage. It's just every word is perilous.
Well, and the idea that you guys could have potentially new fiction or sort of surprise people with sort of new elements, because sometimes people that watch a TV show, some things are spoiled if you have read the books. So.
Well, I think, it's that weird thing of, I can't wait. I'm sure they'll be surprised by the game, but they'll want so much of that, is in the books and in the show, obviously, and it sounds like you guys are doing that.
Yeah, the book is just a great resource to really understand the decisions that they made on the show and how rich the world is. So it's just a really, it's a huge franchise, and historically we've worked with different franchises that have that type of depth. So it's exciting when you have that.
Perfect. I think this is like the exact developer we'd want making this game.
Thank you.
And this is really exciting. In 2014, it says in the piece, so it's coming sooner than we might think.
Yeah, it's shaping up.
I can't imagine the work you have ahead of you.
Well, thank you.
Your hours must be.
Well, thank you guys for sharing this with us. It's a big announcement, and we appreciate you coming to VGX to make the announcement.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Awesome.